Good morning, everyone. Initially, there will be a few hiccups. I'm sorry about that. And my editor wants this footage where I mess up so he can put it in front of the video. This host doesn't know anything. Under the Instagram handle called Maya's Amma.
Guys have asked me if I masturbate, will I grow hair on my hands?
Good morning, everyone. Today we have with us a person who comes to be known under the Instagram handle called Maya's Amma. She has taken Instagram by storm and she posts stuff which literally makes your eyes open. And thank you for being on our show. This is another episode of Aadmi podcast. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the opportunity.
So the other day, me and my friends were having this conversation on how confused the Indian society is. Like, we can't even blame them. Your entire childhood till the age you are gonna get married, you are told that sex is a taboo topic. You cannot discuss it. You cannot indulge in it. Okay? And then at one point of time, you get married off. Like, I'm talking about arranged marriage right now. You get married off, and in the first night, you are supposed to have sex. And from then, the pressure starts. Till you get pregnant, the society will keep asking you, when are you telling us the good news? So sex just becomes a medium in which you get a baby. It just means to get a baby. So that's why I think that entire Indian population is confused. And we can't blame them, because when we were in school in 10th standard, when we were about to speak, when we were about to learn the topic of reproductive organs or the system, I'm pretty sure most of the school, in my school, that happened. So we were asked to read that topic and come and ask us any doubts. Like, the teachers were like, you read the topic, and if you have any doubts, you come and ask us. And no one will go and ask the doubt. Right. So, and then after a point of time, the only way to get to know about sex might be from a porno movie. And there, I think that is when the insecurity starts. Yeah. Right. When you see a porno movie and then you see a person there with a penis at the size of an Eiffel Tower, and then that was then we start comparing. Oh, is that normal? Is mine not normal? That's the first thing. Yes. Second thing is that finally, when we have sex, let's take when we have sex, and we'll be wondering, oh, it was only for this much time, but when I saw it, it was for 1 hour. No, these are the kind of insecurities that come in a person.
Yeah.
So that's why the importance of sex education at the school level is really important. And that's where I think our society is lacking. So before coming for this interview, I thought I'll do a little bit of research, and I went into Google and typed most asked questions about sex or myths about sex. So I thought I will discuss that with you, and if you can put a little bit of perspective on that, then most people might have that doubt and it might help them. So one of the main questions that popped up is, one of the questions that was there in all the links was, is masturbation healthy, and how much is too much masturbation? That was the question that was very frequently asked.
Okay. First of all, the answer to that question is it's absolutely healthy, normal, natural, way to explore your own sexuality. And everybody needs to understand their pleasure or pleasure points. And masturbation is a great way to understand that, and also spend some time with yourself and give that much needed self pampering. And it's a great stress reliever. It's a great immune booster. So it's absolutely normal for a person to masturbate, be it man, woman, LGBTQ people, anybody. But yeah, women's masturbation is not talked about. Maybe we can get into it sometime later. But yeah, answer to that question is absolutely fine. But when does it become a problem? It becomes a problem when you are addicted to it, just like being addicted to anything else is wrong. Being addicted to masturbation is also wrong.
So if you're
masturbating and not even going for work, then that's a problem. Yeah.
So the second question that most of the people have is, what and where is my G-spot? That's what is being searched a lot of times in Google. They exactly don't know what a G-spot is and where it is.
Okay. So for people with a vagina, a G-spot is inside the vaginal canal, above the vaginal canal. So it's inside and above. Yeah. So this is a female genitalia. Okay. It's the vulva, not a vagina.
Okay.
So first of all, people don't know the real name. It's a
Yes.
vulva and not a vagina. So this is a vulva and vagina is inside.
Okay.
So G spot is inside and above. So it's a ridge like, a different texture will be there. So I can actually feel it inside. They've made it inside.
Okay.
So it's inside and above. That is the G spot. But the interesting thing is there is no G spot.
Okay. Now I'm
Okay.
confused.
Yeah. So on the vulva, above the vulva, there is something called the clitoris. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Clitoris or clitoris. And clitoris or clitoris has a backward extension. Okay. So this is a clitoral um, bud. Okay. And it looks like this. This is the bud.
Okay.
So it has a backward extension like this. It almost looks like a penis and scrotum, right?
Mm.
So there is this hidden portion of the clitoris inside, and the back portion of the clitoris is actually the G spot.
Okay. Okay. Makes
So
sense.
it's just an extension of the clitoris.
Okay.
So there is no spot inside the vagina that will actually give pleasure. Vagina doesn't have any pleasure in it. If vagina had pleasure, then baby or childbirth will be a pleasurable
Easier.
process.
Yeah. An easier experience.
Yeah, so vagina doesn't have any pleasure in it, but certain portions of the vagina, because it is portions of the clitoris also, some women can feel pleasure.
Okay.
That's all. But
Okay.
some women. But mainly, where is the pleasure point in a woman's body? That is the clitoris.
Okay.
This is the pleasure point in the woman's body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because we're on the same topic here, there was a lot of questions where there were men who came out and told that my partner has never experienced orgasms, and then there
Hmm.
were girls who came out and told, how do I make sure I orgasm during sex? So your thoughts on that?
Yes. So first of all, masturbation plays a huge role in understanding your own personal sexuality, your own sexual peak. So that's why I told you it's a very healthy practice. But unfortunately, because of the taboo surrounding this topic and also because of sexual inequality, where men have more access to sexuality related information and women, though even though they have access, they are not seeking the information because of multiple issues past, the way they were raised, the kind of rules and regulations that were put in the family, maybe sexual abuse that has happened during childhood, and multiple reasons. Women don't get a lot of information, and somehow masturbation in women also is not really spoken about, and it's a huge taboo. So in majority of the cases, what happens, women don't really understand their body as much as men understand their bodies. So because of that lack of understanding, they don't know where are their erogenous zones, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what hurts. Even if it hurts, they are not talking about it, because they feel, again, what if my
Yeah.
partner feels bad, and all those comes into picture. And so because of this, women don't have a great understanding about their pleasure points. So as I just told you, they have to understand that they have a organ just for pleasure. So this organ is completely only for pleasure. And if they give more time to understanding their own uh, personal sexuality, they will figure out where is what. The thing is, they are not giving enough time for themselves. Whenever they think of sex and sexuality, they think of partnered sex.
Mm.
But partnered sex is different, personal sex is different. So if they can focus more on personal sex, like how men focus on their own sexual peak, their own orgasms, their own masturbation, if women can also give some time to themselves, then they will get a clear idea of, okay, this feels good for me, this doesn't feel good. So if that thing that doesn't feel good is happening in partnered sex, they can communicate that to the partner and tell
Okay.
that, no, this is not working for me. For me, this will work. So you can focus on this. So because this understanding is not there, that communication is not happening. So, and on top of that, you can imagine basically they are not okay to communicate also, because basically women think men should take the initiative, men should talk, they should be the people who are. It's not like that all the time. There are a lot of women who have a much higher sexual energy or libido than men. So if that's the case, then they have to start the talk. But because of all these things, they restrict themselves from communicating, and they also don't know what they need. So then that creates sexual inequality. So my suggestion to men and women equally would be: men, please encourage your women to find her own personal sexuality, because when you give that encouragement and support, no, they will feel it's okay. Because maybe they feel it's not okay, maybe something is weird, maybe I am awkward, maybe I am weird, maybe something is wrong with me. Um, that is also there. Second, what happens? Yeah, so men can give support and encouragement to their women to focus on their own personal sexuality, and women, they can invest some time to focus on themselves. And if this doesn't happen, what happens is women will blame men for not getting orgasms.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so that happens because what she feels is, again, as you told, the information that she has got is from porn. So what she will feel is, see, this man is engaging in penetrative sex for so long,
Mm.
and this woman seems to be enjoying it. Okay, or she seems to be having an orgasm, she seems to uh, you know um, get lubricated or get aroused, or she seems to do this, that, something and all is happening to her. So but that is because this man is doing so much to
Mm.
her, so why is my man not able to do so much to me?
Comparison happens.
So yeah, so when men can get their orgasms by themselves by doing certain ABCD, women also have to understand that their orgasms, their sexual pleasure is within themselves, and they can find it out or discover it if they invest some time and energy into finding it out, rather than blaming the partner or the way he is engaging in penetrative sex, or the size or shape of his organs. Yeah, so she will not put the blame on the partner, and she will take up the responsibility to find it out. So that's again another reason why masturbation is absolutely good, healthy, normal, natural.
And I think there is another, and one of those other questions that I asked is the duration of sex. Or let's take for example the penetration part. What is the ideal duration of sex is something that has been asked a lot. Like, I think that's again has a connection with the porn that we see, and the
Yes,
duration of
yes.
that is considered to be normal. So that's why
Yeah,
people
yeah,
have this doubt.
yeah, yeah. So there is no ideal duration actually. Whatever duration the man takes to get his sexual peak is his duration. That's all. But if it's too less, if it's under 30 seconds, or see, the thing is, he has to ejaculate or he has to get the peak, and he has to understand that this is okay for me. If he personally feels that this is okay for him, without keeping porn as a standard, then his okay is his okay, his
Right.
normal is his normal. Okay, but if he feels, oh, this was too fast, or I didn't even properly get into the act completely. Before that itself, this is happening. Then, yes, he can seek support from a sex therapist. But if he feels, I had a nice time, okay, this is what usually happens to me even when I masturbate, okay, this is my ideal time. There's nothing wrong in it. Then his normal is his normal. Okay, he shouldn't be keeping porn on a pedestal. He shouldn't be thinking, oh, this guy did for half an hour, so I have to also do it for half an hour. Practically, it's not possible, right? You have to be some machine or something to keep penetrating for half an hour. And one more thing is, vagina is a very sensitive portion in the woman's body. Okay, it's not made for pleasure. As I told you, clitoris is for pleasure, not vagina. So if you keep penetrating into a vagina for that long, if it hurts,
Okay. Okay.
it hurts. So it's just that the woman is not talking about it. Okay. So because again, as I told you, she has also kept porn on a pedestal. She also think, oh, that is what should happen. That woman seems to be enjoying. So I also have to enjoy. Even if it hurts, I should act as though I enjoy. So most women, what they do is major faking is happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and men can never find it out. Acting is pretty on point. So yeah, so there's a lot of faking, a lot of acting, a lot of pretending. lot of hiding. All that happens because she feels uh, porn is the ideal
That benchmark is created.
sexual experience that a person should go through. Man also feels that. Yeah. So yeah, porn does a lot of damage like that. Yeah. What was the question, by the way? What did you ask?
No, I was asking what is the ideal time of
Ideal
penetration?
duration. Yeah, yeah. So there's no ideal duration. If the man feels this is okay for him, this is normal for him, and he has had a nice time, he has had enough time for foreplay, he has had enough time to focus on himself, focus on the partner, and if then he is getting an orgasm in a particular amount of time, then that time is okay time for him. But if something is wrong, my point is he'll feel it inside him.
Huh.
Okay, that body will communicate something is wrong before even you initiate it, or before even something really happened. You are ejaculating, or you're not able to even sustain the erection for some time, then please seek help. Then the man can seek help. But if he feels everything is fine and he's able to do it in a stipulated amount of time, but then he's also able to give enough time to the partner, to please the partner or to please himself in that process, then everything is fine. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to keep a certain duration as the ideal duration.
And
Because that
what
duration,
about?
no, if it's long, it will not help women anyway. That's my point. What I'm trying to say is it will anyway be hurtful for the woman inside the vagina.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another point which which many people ask is that losing virginity before marriage is considered to be wrong.
Mm.
I mean, it has to be communicated outside that it's fine to do it. If you're sure to to do it with a person whom you want to, it's fine. So is there anything that
Mm.
you want to speak about that will?
Yeah, first of all, the concept of virginity itself is a social concept. It's not a biological concept. So if a guy starts masturbating at the age of 7 or 8, then can you say that he lost his virginity at 7 or 8, and he's a second-hand uh,
Yeah.
product when he gets into a relationship? No, that's not the case. No, same similarly like that. If a woman focuses on her personal sex, and masturbates, or gets orgasms, or finds her sexual peak, then there is no virginity construct in women also. the
True.
the point discussion here is, what about the hymen? So there is this elastic donut shaped structure inside the vagina, uh, you know, that's called the hymen, which actually can stretch for penetration to happen. So
Okay.
that's why most women don't bleed. They don't bleed because the vagina becomes very aroused and lubricated, and the entire pelvic floor relaxes for penetration to happen. That's
Okay.
why in many cases women don't bleed. But in very rare cases, if the woman is really tight, if she's not ready for penetration, then also if penetration happens at a very wrong time, yes, there is a chance of mild bleeding. But then again, it's like 1 or 2 drops, not a really bleeding, like bleeding like a dam or something. But in many cases it can be avoided if a lot of time is being spent on arousing the woman, on getting her sexual peak. If she can masturbate during the process and relax her entire body and relax her pelvic floor, then it can be avoided. In many cases, most cases it can be avoided. And here the interesting thing is, most women's hymens are very, very stretchy, because
Okay.
it's right in the middle of their body, and then they keep doing this with their legs all the time. So they're walking, running, swimming, dancing. So many things they're doing. So which means the hymen is really elastic. So it's not a brick wall. That's what people think. People think hymen is a brick wall. If hymen is a big brick wall, then menstrual blood won't come out. No.
Correct.
So there is an opening. They have to focus on relaxing themselves. Again, one of the big mistakes that many men do is focusing on the genitals in the beginning itself.
Okay. Okay.
So that is again a wrong message propagated by all these English movies and pornographic films. Immediately focusing on the genitals. Genitals, especially women's genitals, are much more sensitive, and you need to really, really give it a long time before really focusing on the genitals. So don't be in
Jump
a
into it.
hurry. Yeah, that's again, what do we see in English movies?
Yeah.
Same thing. No, they start kissing and they start
Yeah.
having penetration. sex. That's all over. And they magically show both of them getting their orgasms at the same time also. That's another big bullshit that we need to, stop propagating.
Yes, yes.
So yes, so if you can take enough time and focus more on enjoying the process than getting it done, then I think most of these things can be prevented. This bleeding, this pain, this faking, acting, everything can be prevented.
Enjoy the journey rather than the destination. I think that
Oh yeah,
sinks here.
something like that. Yeah, Kevin, the philosophy can.
So you talk about topics which normally people don't want to speak or don't speak about. So when did you decide that you want to be the voice of the unspoken? Like the
Okay, so I didn't really start talking about sex and sexuality one fine morning. I was into training and development, so I've been used to talking to large groups of audience for a very long time. But I did that for 5 to 6 years, and then once I got pregnant in 2013, I stopped all of that training and development. But after having my baby, once I started breastfeeding her, I got to know how lonely a new mother would feel with an infant, and breastfeeding all the time, and nobody to really catch up with, and suddenly your friends really go out of your life because most of them are just getting married, or
yes.
probably won't have kids, and you won't have anything to talk with them in common. But then you search for this peer group wherein you get to talk about breastfeeding and diapers, and introducing solids to children, and you want that other group, and then you're in search of other new moms. And that's how I came across a lot of Facebook groups that deals with breastfeeding, cloth diapers, baby led weaning, baby carriers, and anything that a typical new parent would want to explore. And from those groups, I got a group of mothers in my city. So I'm in Coimbatore. So I got a group of mothers, like-minded mothers who were into all these things that I wanted to be into. And like that, a great friendship grew. It was a nice peer group that I had there. And this peer group, we kept organizing mother to mother support meets,
Okay.
where we all gather in somebody's house, and then we discuss about breastfeeding, what all difficulties we're going through, in-laws issues, and extended family not supporting us when we want to breastfeed for long durations, and you know um, uh, people commenting about milk supply, and some mothers who want to get back to their career, they don't know when they have to get back, so they're confused whether, should I continue breastfeeding, should I give formula now. And then we discuss about pumping and feeding, and then that mother suddenly becomes very happy, thinking, oh wow, I can continue breastfeeding and I can also continue my job. Wow. So we give this support to each other in these support group meetings, and that was going on very well. In that journey, what happened, I saw myself taking initiative to hold these support group meetings every 15 days.
Okay.
So I was the one who was spearheading the support group meetings. Okay. So then I thought, okay, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do hereafter. I'm very happy doing this. And so you have to imagine I'm doing the same thing, like what I was doing in training and development, handling groups of audience. I'm doing the same thing here also. So then I thought, okay, I'm really looking forward to these meets, and that is making my parenting journey beautiful. So why not? You don't obviously expect money and some outcome out of everything. No, sometimes you just need happiness and support, and
True.
a peace at the end of the day. So whenever I do this, I find myself being very happy and peaceful. So I just kept doing it. I kept doing it. I kept doing it. But in that journey, what happened? A lot of young mothers started asking me their breastfeeding queries. So according to them, I'm breastfeeding my daughter, and I'm going for all these meets when she is 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, and all. I'm having her with me during these meets. I'm breastfeeding her and talking. I'm talking about a lot of things that others usually don't talk about. Natural birthing, and I'm telling, why do you have to always go to hospital to give birth? There are birth centers also. You can go to birth centers also and give birth. There are midwives there. They can also help you in giving birth. This is like this is like that. And start using menstrual cups. Why are you using pads? These kind of things. So these mothers, directly or indirectly, they started seeing me as a very knowledgeable person, but I was not. I was just telling them what I knew. Okay. But then what happened? They started asking me their doubts. I have this breastfeeding issue. Can you help me with this? I have sore nipples. I'm bottom feeding. I want to get back to breastfeeding. What do I do? What do I do? So when these questions started getting thrown at me, I decided to take up a certification in lactation, and I became a lactation counselor in Coimbatore.
Okay.
So I started practicing lactation counseling. And so the support group meetings were also going on one side. On the other side, I got into lactation. I got into a hospital to practice as a lactation counselor. That was a big story. We can talk about that in a different episode, because that itself is a huge story. Yeah, so this happened, and so every day when I meet these mothers for lactation issues in the hospital, I thought nobody talks about these issues, right? So, what does a breastfeeding mother go through really? What does postpartum look like? What does postpartum depression look like? How is a support system at home when she's breastfeeding? For example, yesterday there was a case in Hyderabad where a mother threw her baby outside the window. Through her balcony, and killed a 14-day-old baby. But
Right.
then she
Because of
also had
depression.
a history of, yeah, she also had a history of mental illness, and she has attempted suicide before. She has been in a rocky marriage, so who knows, maybe she had a postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis or whatever, but then nobody really talks about these things. So what happened, I started posting about these lactation consultations on my Facebook page. So that time I was not on Instagram.
Okay.
I started posting about these counseling that I used to do. I went today to a client and she told me this, and then I told this, and this happened. So I started posting about these things on my Facebook page, and that people started liking it. People started really understanding, oh, this is what happens after breastfeeding. Oh, breastfeeding is not as simple as you think it is. Oh, there can be issues in breastfeeding also. Oh, there can be cases where the baby completely refuses to latch. So what can the mother do? Oh, so there is a professional called a lactation consultant. Ah, that is nice. So what happened slowly, a lot of people started understanding this field, and a lot of people started taking up courses to become lactation counselors. And that sort of started off a huge
The entire journey.
yeah, it became a snowball effect. A lot of people started posting about their own issues in lactation, and people started, and incidentally at that time a lot of support groups also started coming up. So like how we established a support group in Coimbatore, a lot of small towns like Erode or Namakkal or Salem or Tirupur and these places and all started off with their own support groups, and they started propagating these same ideologies, and things started really coming out into the open. And that's when I came to know there is something called Instagram. And then I joined Instagram and I started posting about breastfeeding, same old thing,
Yes.
breastfeeding, and the support groups, how mothers should support each other, how women should support each other, how fathers should also come on board, the importance of men being great support systems in a woman's life, and parenting and this that. So I was just posting about these things on Instagram. And at one point when the Polachi rape happened, I don't know if you remember, there
I
were like
remember.
200 plus women who reported that they
Yes.
were yeah, cheated on Facebook. They were lured into a rape sorry some kind of racket that just use these women, took photos, videos of them, and then they blackmailed them using
Blackmail
these
them and
photos, videos, and
yes.
yeah, they got sexual favors from them, and money and whatever. So when that issue came up, I put up a couple of videos telling why are you simply blaming the girls? Because everybody started slut shaming them and blaming them. Why did they message these guys on Facebook? First of all, why did they accept to meet these guys? Why did they do this? Why did they do this? And nobody really questioned the guys. Why did they want to do this with girls?
Correct.
And it's that age, 18, 19, 20. You don't get that love and affection at home. Some guy messages you on Facebook telling you're beautiful and you're pretty and all that. Girls, anybody would really want that attention and affection and validation from
Yes.
other people. That's all. And so many people fall in love also on Facebook and all these social media forums. You don't really want to get raped. You don't want to get harassed. You don't want to get blackmailed. You're not into it for that kind of a negative outcome. You are expecting something positive out of these things,
Yes.
right? I found my husband on Orkut. So how can somebody question me why I was on Orkut at the time? So I really felt very bad that, whatever happens to women, why are women always being questioned? Why is the other party not being questioned? So I put a couple of videos on that, and that got some nice
Reach. Yeah.
feedback, reach. And that's when I decided maybe I have to talk about these issues also, just not talk about motherhood and breastfeeding and parenting, because this issue starts with parenting only.
Correct.
What parents talk at home, that's what girls or boys imbibe as their own value systems at the end of the day. So then I thought, okay, maybe I have to talk about these things. And at that time, I started taking classes on menstrual cups.
Okay.
So a lot of people started asking me about, whether it will break the hymen, what about the virginity of the girls, how do they use cups? And that's when I put up a question answer, a Q&A on virginity and first sexual experience and all that. So
But did
that
you
got,
initially, when you
yes.
started, did you actually think that so many people will come forward and respond to your question and answers? Like,
No, I didn't. But then I was a little confident because menstrual cups are kind of neutral topic these
correct,
days.
correct.
So I am breaking from breastfeeding parenting. I'm not entering sexuality. I'm in the middle. Menstrual cups are in the middle. So they're
Safe
like
zone.
sustainable option, environmental friendly option. So it is safe to talk about it.
Uh,
It is not entirely getting into sexuality also, but then you have to talk about vagina or hymen or insertion and those kind of things also. So menstrual cups was a very safe, but at the same time, it was that, yeah, that
neutral ground.
thin line between environment sustainability and sexuality. So I started a Q&A on menstrual cups and hymen and virginity and all that, and then slowly people started responding. But the highlight here is I started putting up the responses on my stories.
Yes.
So that's when other people started understanding, oh, people are discussing about these things, people are open about these things, at least people are seeing this woman as a trusted person where I can go and talk about it and she won't judge me about it. So then a lot of people started responding for these Q&As, and that's how it started getting very viral, as you would put it.
Why the name Maya Amma? I mean, you could have gone with your own name, or
Yeah,
is there
see,
a
I started as I started putting my posts as a parent.
ah?
So I am doing breastfeeding, I am breastfeeding a 3-year-old. I am when I am parenting Maya, this is what Maya told me. So based on that, I gave a response like this. And then people are like, oh, you can talk about these things to Maya. Yeah, Maya's breastfeeding, so obviously about breasts I do talk about it to her. Or Maya's uh, uh, you know uh, uh, play school told me that Maya ate by herself. So they asked me, how did you inculcate this habit in her? I told them that I did baby led weaning. In baby led weaning, we can start self feeding from a very very young age.
Okay.
So everything was from Maya's perspective that I put. So that's how I put Maya's Amma. But now, actually, I can go with my real name also. But I don't know now. Changing is not good. No, I don't know. So I posted these Q&As, and people started responding to these Q&As, asking, oh, so menstrual cup has nothing to do with virginity. Oh, virginity is itself a social construct. Oh, so many women don't have hymen. Oh, this, oh, that. Then I thought, okay, a huge aspect of parenting is sex education. So why not become a sex educator? Because I'm anyway talking about these topics and people are anyway asking me questions. And I won't be able to deal with all adults today because adults have a huge variation of issues. So I won't be able to deal with all these issues anyway. So the only thing we can immediately deal with is children. So, and I don't have any vibe with children. Okay, my own daughter, I find it very difficult to sit and play with her for half an hour, 1 hour. So I can't talk to children about this anyway. So I'll take classes to parents on how to deal with children's sexual health and sexual development. So that's how I got into sex education for parents. So I got myself certified in that, and then I started taking classes on that. But once I started taking classes for parents, I got to know that they themselves have a lot of, as you said, uh, emotional baggage,
Hmm.
past sexual abuse trauma, uh, bad experiences that has shaped their sexual values in certain ways, deep rooted cultural and religious beliefs that certain things are not okay, certain things are a sin, certain things are a crime. So 2 days back, a girl asked me, porn பார்த்தா police பிடிச்சிருவாங்களா? Like if I watch porn, will police get me? So yeah, so guys have asked me if I masturbate, will I grow hair on my hands?
Okay, that
Will I
is
go
new.
bald?
Mm.
Yeah, will I become infertile? So there are a lot of these thoughts that adults have that has shaped their ideologies about sexuality in certain ways. So when that is there, how do they deal with the child's sexual health in a neutral manner? If you have emotional baggage, how do you deal with the child?
Correct.
Because that emotional baggage and insecurity will come out at one point. When the child is watching porn, you might take your sexual value about porn onto the child,
Mm.
right? So if you feel that's a bad thing, when your child watches it at age, so today's statistics say a child is watching porn between the age of 8 and 10.
8 and
So
10.
when your 10-year-old is watching, or when you come to know that your 10-year-old watched, or when you saw that they have gone to a particular site, when you feel it's a bad thing, you will shame the child or you will judge the child. You have to get to know how normal all these things are. That curiosity to know about your body and sexuality is normal, natural. Only if you know that basic concept,
Mm.
you can accept the child or its curiosity to watch porn. So I came to know after taking classes to parents that, oh my goodness, adults have all these sexual baggage and their own unique thought processes about sexuality. So I shouldn't be just talking about children's sexual health. I should be talking about adult sexual health also at times. And that's when what you said came into picture, discussing about porn. What kind of body image issues does porn bring about? What kind of preconceived notions about first sexual encounter that porn brings about?
Yes.
Issues for men, issues for women, LGBTQ issues, and those kind of things. So that's how I started discussing about all these things, even though I don't have, I'm not a sex therapist uh, for adults. Yeah, but people think I am. People message me asking about erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation and vaginismus and all these things, thinking that I will give them solutions, but I don't. I just become a bridge between information and professional. So there is information, but then you have to identify what kind of information you have, whether it's the right information, whether you're on track, off track, and then I can guide you towards a professional that will help you with that particular information if it is wrong. So if it is right, yes, you are on track, no problem. But then somebody has to tell you, know, that you are on track. So
Correct.
I will be that mediator. So that is the role that I play.
So I wanted
Will
to
you?
represent the people who are the followers of yours in Instagram and openly tell you that what you're doing makes a difference to a lot of people. There are a lot of people who actually read the stories and replies. Like I have a few friends who came forward and told me that I never knew that we can speak about it so openly. So what you're doing is nothing, smaller than what a superhero does. You're opening
Oh,
up a new world. You're opening the eye of many people. Thank you for doing that. I hope you keep doing that. And
thank you, Kevin.
so,
So thank you for watching me on Aadmi podcast. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below so that we get to know what you think. Thank you.
thank you very much.